Saram, dear listeners, and welcome to the studios of Sri Sathya Sai Media Center. We offer our loving and prayerful salutations at Bhagawan's lotus feet. And we are here today with His grace and guidance to continue a Satsang that we had started a few months ago on one of the greatest servitors of Bhagawan who had the chance to mother the divine avatar, mother the divine body of Bhagawan, the story of Mrs Ratanlal. The word Ratan means a gem or a diamond, and as I read the life of Mrs Ratanlal, it always to me seems that it's the story of a diamond of a devotee. Bhagawan says He gives us diamonds so that one day we will learn to kill our mind, because only when our mind dies can we truly become the diamond that Bhagawan wants us to become. And when you read the life of Mrs Ratanlal, when you read how she went through all those chills and thrills of becoming a devotee, the whole journey, it was all culminating to that point of eliminating your mind. And we started this session wherein we told you how she took over the chance of looking after Bhagawan's body, looking after Swami's kitchen, serving food to Bhagawan just 6 months before Mother Easwaramma left her mortal coil. So it was all divinely ordained. Every person who has the chance to be with the avatar is definitely destined, and they have been preparing, their souls have been preparing for it for lifetimes. So we went back to the story and we told you how she had her first darshan, 1965, in the garden of Mr. P.K. Sawant, and it was a darshan in the middle of the night where they were waiting for Bhagawan to come. Swami arrived pretty late in the night and Swami retired, so to speak, and everyone prayed, no Swami, and it was Mrs. Ratanlal who led the gathering to do bhajans, and Swami could not contain himself. They drew the grace of Bhagawan. They pulled Swami to come and give darshan in the middle of the night. And the amazing experience she had of a disc emanating from Bhagawan's being and rolling in the air and merging into him, into her. And I think that was such a powerful moment. We hear the journey of a devotee, Swami says, is the light is in me, I am in the light, and I am the light. You become the light. And I think to me, it was a moment where the light entered into her. And that was the dramatic manner in which Bhagawan entered her life. And then came the second darshan, right? Prem?
Right. And talking of the second darshan that she had in Mumbai, it was Swami's second visit to Mumbai too.
Yes.
And the second darshan was equally special in its own way. Because that very first darshan gave a glimpse of what kind of a devotee she was. She was not a devotee who was going to take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
There was Swami who had retired, but she already had an inkling about how you draw his grace. But probably did not have the right vision of Swami at that point. She didn't really get a good look at Swami. It was late in the night. It was dark. The next day, she goes to the house of this devotee, Mr. Sawant. And when she goes there, and she says that she comes from a family that has this history of serving sons and sadhus.
Yes.
She says that about 100 Mahamandaleshwars would be hosted in her house in Karachi. This is before the partition. And for 6 months together, they would camp in their house and they would have their pravachans and they would feed them. There would be satsangs. So she was looking forward to see Swami as another great sadhu of that kind. And the first time Swami walks into their presence, she sees Swami and the first question in her mind is this Swami? She said, I was expecting a 6 feet figure with a big stomach and a flowing beard. But here is Swami looking so tender, and instantly her heart melted. And we were talking about the role that she played in the avatar's life as being a mother. That motherly instinct was kindled right at that very moment, like many, many devotees have. So that was the second darshan that she had. The pleasant shock of how Swami appeared and what she expected and what Swami turned out to be. That was the second darshan that she had, which we discussed about last time.
Yes, and she says, she almost felt like hugging Swami.
Right.
I think as we have, earlier also discussed, but I think just that first darshan, that, as they say, that love at first sight, it was like the divine captured her completely.
Right.
That one moment, the soul knew that this is home, I am home.
Right. So that was the second darshan that she had. And then the very next day, I think she had the darshan in the Shanmukhananda hall.
Yes.
Right. That was when even Mr. Ratanlal, another great devotee, her husband, he had his first darshan, who was not very keen to have Swami's darshan at that point in time. Right. And his first reaction to Swami was also very remarkable in its own way, because he was a person who was very fond of his cars, his gadgets, and that's how Mrs. Ratanlal describes him. And after the first darshan, they come out, and the first thing they discover is the brand new car that he had bought, and he had brought it. He had driven in that car to have Swami's darshan. Somebody had, broken into it and stolen all the gadgets in the car and components from it. And he was very, very calm about it. Mrs. Ratanlal was very surprised to see his reaction, and she could instantly see that this was the effect of Swami's darshan, right? So that was the other very standout experience they had during that first darshan
very
itself.
Calming transformation.
Right.
And the most important thing also is that touch of Swami, the slight touch of Bhagawan. We know how Bhagawan went on the other aisle.
Right.
And that spiritual electric shock kind of a feeling. And I think that is also something that we have seen in so many devotees' lives. First Pad Namaskar or the first sparshan was so exhilarating, divinely uplifting experience. And I think same thing happened. Literally, he was lifted off his chair. That's what Mrs. Ratanlal says. And the interesting thing is, after that, when they're supposed to return, and they were supposed to come back, and generally Mrs. Ratanlal would go along with Mr. Ratanlal's sister. Mm-hmm. And there would be another car where Mr. Ratanlal would go, and that day he says, no, you don't go with my sister, you be with me. Mm-hmm. And he goes on asking questions about Bhagawan, that one moment with Swami. And there, when Bhagawan was giving the discourse, she says how he was only crying, even though he did not understand Telugu, but he was completely in tears. And I think that was the time when the dam sort of broke, and he only wanted to know more about Swami. And let's listen to Mrs. Ratanlal speak about it, about the transformation that happened. And also, the interesting thing is, when you look at all these first encounters in devotees' lives, you will also many times find that there were a lot of things that happened preceding that event.
Right.
There were a lot of things that when you later see, you can connect the dots. And you would see that Bhagawan was actually preparing that particular soul for that moment for so many years, for so many decades in that lifetime. And I think that is something which happened with Mrs. Ratanlal also. And let's listen to Mrs. Ratanlal herself narrate those signs and wonders that happened before the moment when the light entered into her.
In my shrine, 6 months before, now Bhrigu is a rishi. And rishi is supposed to wear white clothes. Correct. I used to change their clothes, give them bath and everything. It was a very elaborate puja, which my Guruji had initiated. So 7:30 when I would sit for my puja in the evening, the main statue would start transforming And instead of white, I would see orange and all those colors. And I would see the big halo, the hair, and the face was not very clear. And I went on thinking that it is Bhrigu Rishi who's sort of, showing me. Now, I had a big ring, and this 6 months before Swami started appearing, I could see Swami. Not only I could see, but most of his devotees could also see Swami moving, walking and all that. And I used to wonder, what is this? These friends of mine told me that this is Swami. But I had not seen Swami. So that day I went to their house, and I saw Swami's picture. That was previous to Swami's darshan.
Correct.
So I said, he comes every day in the evening. And these Atals, Mrs. Atal and the girls confirmed that yes, Swami, we see Swami sitting on the chair also for bhajan. We used to have ladies bhajan, not, hoega koi Swami, I used to say, But I was so surprised that, my God, what? This is such a petite, you feel like hugging. You feel like as if you have seen your child. That was my first reaction, And I had to sort of hold on to my because I'm generally, I don't show my emotions. And I don't get carried away, So
that, dear listeners, was that beautiful reflection that she was sharing. This, after she had the first darshan of Swami, she realized that this form of Swami was not new to her. As she explained, Swami was giving her that darshan till that point in time, but she was not aware that this was Swami. And even when people would tell her that this is Sai Baba, I say, she says, hoega koi Swami.
Some Swami
he must be. And it's so beautiful, and it's very comforting for a devotee to understand that the first time you interact with Swami is not the first time, right?
Yes.
It is so heartwarming to know that, because there is no devotee I have come across who felt that they came early to Swami. Right? Almost every devotee would say that, I came just in the 60s, I came just in the 50s, right? And of course, what do we say about you and me? But to know that this is not a relationship, or this is not a connection that has started now. It has been something that has been going on for long. Here she was seeing that in her own lifetime, that connection was there. And the other standout thing as devotees, when we listen to this part of the narration, what we should remember is, no sadhana goes waste. Right? No sadhana is pointless. Yes, still we see the results in front of us. We might feel disappointed. We might feel disheartened. But with Swami, as Krishna tells Arjuna in the Gita, he says, in this path there is no wastage.
Absolutely.
Right? In the worldly path,
Correct.
You might try to achieve something. When you don't achieve it, you might say it's a failure. Right? He says, in the path of sadhana there is no failure, because it always is adding up to your ultimate success. And that's what we see here. And a very unique devotee, as from her narration we can make out, she comes from a very affluent and a very influential family. But at the same time, extremely religious. How she says that she would never give up that puja that she would do every day. And later she also talks about the other religious observances that she would take up periodically. So very religious in spite of being affluent. Most of us have this misconception that God, religion, prayer is for people who have a lot of worldly and physical needs to be met. That is not the case. And an upbringing is so important, right? She said her family, the way they would serve holy men and women whenever they would get the opportunity. I think all of that matters. The family upbringing, your personal sadhana, very, very important. And at one point you find that everything finds fulfillment the moment you come face to face with Swami.
Absolutely. In fact, the point that you made, Prem, is absolutely so important. Whatever you do for the world, any effort that you do for the world can sometimes go waste, but no single ounce of energy that we have spent on God, for God, will ever go waste. And I think that's a very, very powerful lesson for all of us. And as you said, it almost seems like everything that she did was to prepare her for that moment. And we all later on realize, as we discussed earlier also, we are not new. I mean, we know that, we think we have come to Swami, but we think we took this step to come to Swami, and later on we realize that Swami has been taking 99 steps. We have taken one step, but Swami has been taking so many steps over so many lifetimes to give us that chance, to give us that benediction. And you definitely see that in so many devotees, that revelation happens. You take the story of Mr. Victor Kanu, Swami comes in his vision, and in his vision he sees Prashanti Nilayam, and finally he comes to this holy abode. You take the life of Mr. James Sinclair, in his meditations, he was crying out to the Lord, I don't know, God, who you are, where you are, but my life is a mess. I want you to take over. And during his light meditation, Jyoti meditation, in the flame, he sees the orange robe and the halo of hair, and he just dismisses it. What is it?
Right. Very similar to what she was experiencing. And Sinclair, he does more meditation, and then one day, when he's returning in the night from the washroom, then suddenly he sees this orange figure standing there, and again he dismisses it. No, it can't be, it might be some hallucination. He sees in a dream that there are three beings carrying him, one with a long beard, and one with the look of Jesus Christ, and one with the orange hue. Later on, he realized that it was Shirdi Sai, Parthi Sai, and Prema Sai, taking him onto a hill. And finally, when he physically sees Bhagawan, Swami says, I came to you twice. Only then it clicks. And then Swami says, will you do something for me? And, Swami tells him, I don't want anything, just be happy. But you see that in so many devotees' lives, in all our lives, it is there. If you think that we have done anything, we have taken this step. No, we finally understood that, This is in the mid-60s. I recall just a few years later, Swami goes to Africa.
Yes.
When he comes back, I think we made a mention of this very beautiful statement that Swami makes. When Swami had returned to Mumbai, there was a function held to, celebrate the event of Swami making an overseas trip. And one of the devotees, in his excitement, made a statement that now the Sai fold is expanded to include even the Africans. And when Swami gave a discourse after that, Swami said, what does that even mean? Swami made a beautiful statement. He said, I am Sanatana, come as Nutana.
Yes.
Right? Never forget that. And that is what it is, as Swami would say.
I'm eternal.
Right? Yeah. And Swami would, when he talks about Tyagaraja, he would say, why Tyagaraja would sing in first person to Rama? Right? He would not refer to him in second person in a respectful way. Because Swami would say, he's an old friend. God is always an old friend, right?
Amazing.
Right. So that was the very beautiful thing that stands out in that narration. And the other thing is the whole idea of an avatar itself. When you look at it, it is for this purpose. Swami makes a few observations about the purpose of an avatar. I think even in the Bhagavata Vahini, in the introductory chapter, Swami makes a mention. There are some discourses where Swami makes a mention of this. We often say, Paritranaya sadhunaya vinashaya chatushkritam. Swami said in that discourse, which I came across, and very interesting, he said, but God cannot see bad in anyone.
You're saying God comes to vanquish the evil.
Right, vanquish the evil, but God cannot see bad in anyone. By nature, God sees only good. Right? And then Swami said that, does God need to come down to punish the wicked? The wicked will anyway get punished because that is the cosmic law. Then Swami went on to say, if there is one thing that God can do only when He comes in a human form, that is giving this opportunity of those devotees, for those devotees who have loved and worshipped Him for so many years and births, to have this opportunity to commune with Him, to be touched by Him, to have Him to relate to, right? And that's what we can see. Someone who's, if this is about her short lifetime till that point in time, clearly it shows that this is a soul that has gone through many pious lives. And here is Swami as an avatar coming to reward that. And we see what an enormous blessing that she was given.
Absolutely. That is absolutely so beautiful. God the only reason God comes down is to give us joy. And I think anything that God wanted to achieve, He could have achieved in His omniscient form, and it's continuing even now. Exactly, it's continuing even now. But that whole chance of, talking to Swami, whole chance of touching Swami, whole chance of being with Swami, that is something you can experience only when He comes down in a human form, and God comes down only for that purpose. Otherwise, God can save us, God can take care of us, and that continues, as we said, even now. And I think that is the reason why when the avatar comes, the avatar rewards all these souls who were pining for this chance for lifetime. They have done sadhana for so many years, just like Rama came for a Shabari, Rama came for a Ahalya. I think there were so many such souls who were pining for this chance, and when the avatar comes, all the souls get that amazing blessing. And as you live with the avatar slowly takes you on that journey of sakshatkar, and that's what we would see as we go on in this series. Bhagawan gives the beautiful analogy of chamatkar, sanskar, paropakar, sakshatkar. So now Mrs. Ratanlal and Mr. Ratanlal, they have developed faith in Swami, they have recognized Swami, and now begins the beautiful journey of the Leela phase of Bhagawan. They experiencing the beautiful chamatkars of Swami, and they did experience some amazing miracles in that early phase of their association with Bhagawan. Let's listen to Mrs. Ratanlal narrate those absolutely incredible stories.
Now, third day, Mrs. Atal telephones to me at 2 o'clock that Swami has sent a message, he's coming at 4 o'clock to the house. And what shall I do? I said, why are you worried? Everything will be done. I telephoned to the house, They had in the meantime told me what Swami likes, So all those things were prepared. I telephoned to my flower man, and within 1 hour he came and he decorated the whole house. So Swami comes. I, with few, bhajan singers who used to come on Tuesday, we are sitting in the drawing room, and Swami was taken inside to the family, And she called my husband also. She wanted me to be there. I said, no, it doesn't look nice. Then who will sing the bhajans? So you leave me there, it doesn't, look nice. Now I am singing. After 20 minutes, Swami comes. Swami comes. Kamal Sani's mother was with me. Kamal Sani's brother, older brother, Arun, had a hole in his heart. My husband had very bad sinuses. And Dr. Tirotkar, who at that time was a very famous doctor, he advised us to go to Switzerland for his operation. Now this child who's born blind, I had 16 operations, minus 14 and minus 13 were her glasses. And she's sitting next to me. The bhajan is going on. After 20 minutes, Swami got up, comes to me, asked me to put my hand forward and materialized a lot of vibhuti. Then he asked this girl, take off your glasses, and rubbed vibhuti on her face. My husband was standing in one corner. Swami goes straight to him, and from head, face, throat is all full of vibhuti. Then he goes to Arun, who was standing also in one corner, asked him to open his shirt and rubbed vibhuti on his chest. And Swami went away. Next morning, 5 o'clock, my niece telephones to me, I've got a headache. And she says, Bridge auntie, what shall I do? If I put on the glasses, I get headache. If I don't put on the glasses, I feel all right. I said, but can you see? She says, much better. Wow. But then remove the glasses. But my mother is scolding me. I said, all right, we will handle that. In the meantime, Swami was there. We were going morning, evening. Swami left for Prasanthi Nilayam. Now, my husband had to go. Our booking is done for Switzerland. My husband had to go to check up again with Dr. Tarotkar. And he said, there is no need for you to go to Switzerland. Cancel your trip. Meantime, Arun's mother used to take Arun every month to a doctor. What happened, that Arun's father was a very senior in Firestones. But he had brain hemorrhage. No, he took Arun to Vellore when the WHO people came. By mistake, they had cut him on the right side. And they stitched him, and they left 3 tickets for the mother, father and Arun to come to America, for the operation. But within 1 month, the father died of brain hemorrhage in 3 hours. So the mother was left absolutely like, she didn't even know what she's doing and all that. But I kept her with me, in my boutique to help, and look after these 2 boys, Arun as well as Kamal. That is how Kamal came to Parthi after his schooling. And he joined the college and then became the professor in the university. Understand? And they were coming regularly. And Arun has got no hole in his heart. This was what now it started. My God, every day, Baba, Baba, Baba. My husband drove me nuts. I said, Baba, Baba, main kya karu, Baba?
So that was Swami's surprise visit to Mr. Atal's house. And Mrs. Ratanlal, even though very new to Swami, was her usual self of, in a moment, organizing everything. I think that was one trademark virtue of Mrs. Ratanlal. Later on in Swami's mission, we would see that she was the person to go to if you want to get anything done. Very, very resourceful, very, very present in how to handle situations. And even though first time, she was doing a thing like that, Mr. Atal and Mrs. Atal, they are devotees for very long, but they were tensed. How do we manage? But she is very new, but she said, don't worry, I will organize the bhajan, I will organize the flowers, I will do the decoration, don't worry. I think that kind of, that is the kind of,
Swami was always fond of
woman
that sort of a enterprising nature. Right?
Absolutely.
We always saw Swami being very fond of that.
Yes, absolutely. Never you get a no for an answer. If anything has to, be done, she just get it done. And of course, Mr. Atal and Mrs. Atal, we know that they were the ones actually who first told about Bhagawan. It was because of them that she went to Mr. Sawant's house, asking for those passes too. So in some way,
trying to be resourceful for them, she actually came to Swami. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah. So, and of course, amazing miracles happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you were just talking about Swami's beginning the Leela phase, and Swami is not losing any time. This is just the 3rd day after they've seen Swami, right? They're coming to this person's house. And how different those 3 maladies were which were cured by Swami. Mr. Ratanlal suffering from acute sinusitis, then
the knees.
Right, knees having almost blindness, minus 13 or minus 15 or something like that, she was saying, with the power in the eyes. And then this boy with a hole in his heart. The same vibhuti cures sinusitis, cures blindness, and cures the hole in the heart. And how remarkable is that? Whenever I come across miracles such as these, especially medical miracles, I cannot but stop and wonder that the same Swami also started hospitals, right? And it really, every time it only shows you that he doesn't require institutions, he doesn't require professionals, he doesn't require people to do these things, because it's there. Everyone has witnessed it, that he's able to impart health just by a touch, just by through that vibhuti. He's been able to impart knowledge just through a touch.
Yes.
How often have we seen that
Yes.
as part of the Satsang series? Recently we had Devsan sir speak about how Swami came in his dream and literally solved a problem that he was struggling to solve in the course of his research. And how many such people are there who have been touched in ways. If we are to look at these as only as miracles, I think we will be missing out something. Especially as few of us who are having this opportunity to serve in Swami's name. I think it's a constant reminder for us that Swami doesn't need us. Yes. We need this service that we're doing. This is merely an opportunity that Swami is creating. A hospital is an opportunity Swami has created for doctors. University is an opportunity Swami has created for academicians. Yes. And media center is an opportunity Swami has created for you and me. But I mean, how beautiful that episode is. And you cannot look at this episode and say that Swami did this miracle to convince them. Because they were already convinced, right? That conviction has already come. And when you speak about chamatkar as the first step, we often translate chamatkar as being miracles. But chamatkar actually is the spark, right? When there's a spark. And even before the miracle, actually the spark is there. The first darshan of Swami has created that spark. The miracle is just another form of that same chamatkar that they've seen. And so it's a very beautiful episode of those three cures happening one after the other through the same hand, creating the same vibhuti.
Absolutely. And, she narrates about how Swami cured the hole in the heart of Arun Sahani, Kamal Sahani and Arun Sahani. They were two brothers. And later on, the former students of Bhagawan's University, who were part of the Brindavan campus in the 70s, remember about Kamal Sahani. She mentions that Kamal Sahani became a student. And in fact, Mr. Kamal Sahani, who later on also became a faculty member in Bhagawan's college, was a fantastic student. He was excellent in his academics, as well as a great orator, writer, someone who was like a gem in Bhagawan's University. In fact, he was also part of the trip that went to Kashmir with Bhagawan. In fact, probably he was the master of ceremonies for so many events.
I mean, in Sanatan Arti, we were seeing so many references to the talks that he had given in Swami's presence.
So that was another, everything of Bhagawan has so many dimensions to it. It was Mrs Ratanlal who was instrumental for the Sahanis to come into Bhagawan's fold. In fact, I was reading about Kamal Sahani, and I think I will just read out this beautiful way he describes Swami's Kashmir trip. Just 2-3 lines of, a glimpse of the beautiful heart of Kamal Sahani. Talking about the Kashmir trip, he says, the very sight of the red robe was enough for people to cry. Literally. Several cried aloud, praying that he should bless them. Some persons, unable to withstand the call of the divine, broke all human barriers and fell at his feet, pouring forth their anguish to receive in return benediction and vibhuti. Word spread that God had come. The city was aflame with the signet of eternity, the Lord himself. So, you find so many beautiful talks of Mr. Kamal Sahani. So, again, that was another lovely dimension. Every time Bhagawan touches one life, it is not just that one life and that one particular soul. There will be so many other things that will be happening parallelly, and that we see. And we will see more and more in Mrs. Ratanlal's life, because she was truly that instrument of Bhagawan to bring amazing instruments of Swami's mission in the years to come. And we'll see that as we go along in this series.
And the other thing that stands out about this portion is that she doesn't say that we had this problem and we are going to Swami seeking cure or seeking his grace to deal with these problems. I mean, she was just there. Both Mr. and Mrs. Ratanlal wanted to be in Swami's presence as many times as possible. They were curious to know about Swami. That love was beginning to flow, and I think everything else fell in place, right? Whatever had to be done, Swami did. And I think that again is a beautiful lesson for us. And all that we need to do is express and shower our love on Swami. Whatever is needed, it will be taken care of. There probably might have been other problems which were not solved by Swami. I mean, we never know. But it doesn't matter. because what is necessary, I think he will do that. And that is the first step that each one of us take. As I said, chamatkar need not necessarily mean a miracle. It could just mean that first moment when you, when your eyes fell on Swami's and you said, yes, I think I've reached. Right, as Howard Moffat beautifully entitles as one of his books. He says, where the road ends, right? How often have we felt that? The first darshan meant for us that, this is where the road ends. And that is that chamatkar. And as Swami would always say, chamatkar must lead to sanskar, the transformation. And whenever Swami speaks about sanskar, one of the oft repeated examples is that of a lump of steel becoming a wristwatch. And Swami would say that it doesn't simply become a wristwatch. It needs to be put in the fire, it needs to be beaten, it needs to be scrubbed. That process is painful. It's very counterintuitive. The Lord who seems to be removing pains in the first step seems to be the same Lord who's putting us through a little bit of trouble in the second one. But that is the nature of sanskar, and that is how transformation or purification, right? Sanskar, as Swami defines it, happens. That purificatory process needs to be endured. And that is where true devotees, a true devotee shines.
Absolutely.
And as we can see in the next part where she describes, all this was fine. Swami was visiting, the city of Mumbai. Very interestingly, a few days back, I was listening to a conversation with an alumni whose grandparents came to Swami in the 1950s. So their family was in some town in Tamil Nadu, where the grandmother comes to know about Swami. Somebody tells her there's an avatar Purusha in Puttaparthi, you should go and see him. So in all excitement, she goes and tells her husband that I heard this, should we go? And the husband says, if he is God, he should come to us. Why should we go to him? Right? A very weird proposition to be placed in front of God. He said, if he is God, he will come to us. We don't have to go in search of him. And just probably the next month or something, he gets a telegram from the collector of that town saying that Sathya Sai Baba is visiting our town and he's going to be in my official residence. If you wish to have his darshan, you can come.
Wow.
And Swami had come all the way, and in the first interview, Swami says, now I have come, now you come to Puttaparthi.
Wow.
Right? So, in the comforts of their own city in Bombay, in a very luxurious setup, Swami gave them the first darshan. Of course, there was a little bit of obstacles even there, but it was a comfortable setup to have your first darshan. But now Swami invites them to Puttaparthi, and there something very interesting awaits them. So we listen to that, dear listeners, in the voice of Mrs. Ratanlal.
Before that, just to add, when you reflect on this, as you said, she never asked for anything, everything, all the miracles happened, all the cure happened unasked. It's just that all that she had was love for Bhagawan. If you have that love for Bhagawan, grace automatically flows. I think that is something very beautiful. And when you think about the first time also, when she went for darshan, it was because she wanted to help Mr. and Mrs. Atal.
Right, Atal.
It was that heart. She said they want to go, and if she's going to ask for them passes, it may not happen. So let me also join. So it was always that heart, a beautiful heart, and fill that beautiful heart with deep love for Bhagavan. That's all that is needed. Automatically, everything that is to be solved in your life will get solved. And let's now listen to Mrs. Ratanlal talking about her first trip to Puttaparthi.
Then we got a message from Swami that come for Dasara. Now, my Guruji, from the very beginning, all our puja used to be for Lok Kalyan. So Navratra puja twice a year was done in a very elaborate manner. With Kanya Pujan, Brahman Pujan, Sapchandi and all that. So I said, I can't go, He said, if you don't go, and in those days, what was Puttaparthi? When you entered the Ganpati gate, there was no Ganpati, there was a well. And there were only 2 rooms on the right side. Kacha, mud houses. And there was a little barrack before for the State Bank. And then further on, Kasturi's room. That was also Kacha. There was no, near the little hall, which was supposed to be the, gathering hall, was only, I think, not only, I don't think 500 people would be able to sit. There were 50-60 people on one side and 50-60 women on the other side. Now when we come, Kasturi went to Swami and one room was allotted out of that. But Raja Reddy's mother-in-law, Mrs. Dikshit, who was a kachari singer at that time, when Swami came to Bombay, she had given a performance. And Swami had invited her for Dasara. Now she, her husband, her mother and her father, Jyotsna with her mother and father, and they were 9 people. And we were 4 people. 13 people, where are they going to sleep? And there was one room inside. And there was a small thing. We used to go 2:30 outside. There were 4 cubicles, with this tart curtain. And if you saw that bucket in the morning, you would not have bath. There was 4 annas for cold bucket and 8 annas for hot bucket. And Swami said that you put water in that, and let Ratanlal not go and have a bath outside, But these 9 people, they had no consideration. There was nobody. We had to go to the well. I used to sort of take out water in small buckets. But for his 2 or 3 buckets, I had to engage somebody. But they would go and put their hands and all that. You can't use that water for anything. And I'm fasting. I used to cook under the tree. First for Ratanlal and these 3 people. Then clean and then cook for myself because no onions, no garlic, nothing. My food had to be fasting food, So, badi mushkil. So, we used to go at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, where the tank is? The water tank is. There used to be very nice 5-6 trees. So, I used to take the mat and go and make my husband lie down and put the fan on for him to sleep for 20 minutes, and then come down. It was but I tell you, Anil, those 10 days, they were like really as if we are in heaven.
In spite of all these difficulties.
My whole house was air conditioned. There are 4 cars, there are 4 drivers, there are 10 servants and all that. Here there is no servant, there is nothing is available outside. We kept the taxi, we had to send the taxi every 2 days, 3 days to Bangalore because we had to get fruit, we had to get vegetables. There is no shop, there is nothing available. Luckily, because we were told, so we had brought our milk powder and no milk was available. Nothing was available,
So that is how her first trip to Puttaparthi was. No place to stay, no water, no electricity, no food, no provisions, nothing. And one very beautiful thing when you listen to her, when the interviewer actually says, it must have been very difficult, auntie, so challenging. I mean, how do you manage? They were living under trees, and how do you actually sustain yourself? But, she says, no, beta, that was heaven. That was heaven. And that is something so amazing. Even though there were so many physical challenges, but the love for Bhagawan was so intense that everything got subsumed in that. Everything became insignificant. That pull of Bhagawan was so great, and it was really also such a fantastic time to be with Swami. Physically, Swami also was giving so much time, but it just goes to show that once we develop that kind of love for Bhagawan, any challenge in our life, we all the time say, I have this problem, I have this problem, I have family problem, I have problems in my office, whatever be our difficult ordeals to face, the answer to that solution is increase your love for Bhagawan. That's all. Once you increase your love for Bhagavan, everything else will become insignificant. Life can become heaven. And I think that is something that you get from Mrs. Ratanlal all through. In fact, that is something again we will see when we read more and more about her life. She had so many challenges even after, she came to Bhagavan and she had the chance to look after Swami. But every time there was this obstacle, she just increased her love for Bhagavan. And the pull of Bhagavan's love was so fantastic that everything else did not matter, isn't it?
Right, and it's not new to us that we are listening about these Spartan living conditions in those days. But then look at the background. I think it just gives you a sense of what it meant for some of these people to come during those times.
Yes.
As she says, 4 cars, 4 drivers, and 10 servants.
She had an air-conditioned house.
Right, air-conditioned, an entire house air-conditioned. Now, of course,
in 60s.
In the 60s, it was a big thing.
Yeah.
And this is again something that some of the devotees who would come in those times would speak of. And we are talking of times which are quite different, right? There was a lot of differences within the society, the high and the rich, and in Swami's presence, all of that melted. As we can say, 13 people living in a room. And
there are 9,
right,
Swami asked another
from
4.
different backgrounds. Some of them from South India, some from North, Mr. Dikshit and family, they're singers. All of those differences vanished in Swami's presence, and it happens so very naturally.
Yeah. And she had no complaints.
Right, she had no complaints, and it happens so easily. We've seen that even in Swami's hostel setups.
Absolutely.
Or even in Swami's, Kulwant Hall.
Yes.
You never wonder, for all that you know, the person sitting next to you might be an extremely rich person, or it might be coming from an extremely humble background. It doesn't matter when you sit in front of Swami or a devotee. And you can see that there are a lot of devotees who have faced some of these inconveniences, so to say, in the early years. But very few, if you actually look at it, have endured it and have remained in Swami's fold for many generations. Gratitude is not the right word to use for Swami, but he embodies even that virtue. Because many times when Swami talks about some of these devotees who came in the 50s and 60s, Swami would very fondly remember them. And as students, I think we've seen this many times. And Swami would randomly speak to a student and Swami would ask, where are you from? And then when that boy speaks about his grandparents or uncles who came to Swami in the 50s or 60s, and Swami would instantly recollect them and very, very fondly inquire about them. Because Swami certainly knows that it was not easy. And it was a process of sanskar. It was not accidental. It was conscious. Swami was putting us through, even now, puts us through these things because it is a choice that needs to be made. When you talked about, initially when we started, her name suggests what she was. I recall when we were students, one of the students, when he was speaking in Swami's presence, made this beautiful observation. He said, what is the difference between a diamond and a glass bead, which looks very similar if you casually look at it? The diamond, when it takes in light from outside, it reflects within before it reflects it out.
Beautiful. Right?
That internal reflection is what makes the diamond shine, but a glass bead or a glass ball will make the light just pass through. Right? And devotees like these who have had the opportunity to come to Swami, taken his message, taken his words, taken his presence, and then they've made it internally reflect in their own lives. I think that is why they shine, and Mrs. Ratanlal, as her name suggests, is certainly one such gem of a devotee.
In fact, as you talk about these devotees of earlier times, I'm reminded of someone who had the chance to serve personally Swami, drive Swami's car for so many years.
Okay.
And he was someone who came to Swami in those years, in 60s. And he was saying that in those days, it was very difficult to come. He was a businessman. Swami only set up his business. But even though it was extremely difficult to come, to come from Bangalore itself, it would take half a day. But if he had even half a day, he would somehow drive down and come. And it is for that reason that if you see 20 years later, whenever Swami wanted to travel anywhere, Swami would ask him to come and drive his car. I used to always wonder why Swami gave this person so many chances. But, I had the chance to talk to him during his final moments. And that is when he shared that, it was, as you are saying, if you have done anything for Bhagawan, Swami will never forget that. He will reward not just you, but your entire 7 generations, as they say. And especially in these times, in 60s when it was so difficult, there are so many devotees who came, but probably they did not endure the pain, or they thought, no, we cannot take up this inconvenience. Right. This is too much for us. It's
too much to handle.
But someone who said, no matter what, God is priority. I will do whatever it takes. I will never miss this chance. If you had that kind of love, intense feeling that I want to be with Swami, Swami says, I will be with you. I will be not just with you. I will be with your son, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren also. I think that's a very, very powerful thing that you see in the devotees who have come to him in the earlier era. And of course, as you said, the other thing that also that you see, look at her duty consciousness, even though it's so challenging, Mr. Ratanlal has a weak constitution, right. She says, he is someone who should fall sick, no convenience. And she used to prepare food separately for him. And at that time, she was, following that religious practice.
Personal sadhana also was being balanced.
So she was cooking for herself. So she would, under a tree, make a space and, fan Mr. Ratanlal till he sleeps. Look at her sense of, I have to perform all my duties, no matter what the inconvenience. I will do everything to the best of my ability. I will fulfill anything that is needed for anyone else after I do everything that is needed for my family as my duty. And I will not compromise on my personal sadhana, no matter what the physical challenge. And I think all of that, along with that intense desire to be with Swami, once you say Swami is mine, you want to give your life to Swami. And then how Bhagawan rewarded her because of that intensity is something that we'll see in the coming episode. A beautiful saga unfolds as she narrates the first time when she had the opportunity to cook something for Bhagawan. And we'll come to that in the coming episode of living up to his love, the story of Mrs. Ratanlal. Thank you so much for being with us, and we hope and pray that we can continue this series. There is nothing more purifying, more uplifting than ruminating on the stories of such saints that Bhagavan has given for us to learn from, and let us make use of this chance to purify ourselves and to develop that kind of intensity of love for Bhagavan. Thank you so much. Sai Ram.